My brother's new wife told everyone at Thanksgiving that I was too poor to sit at the main table because I refused to lend them money for their honeymoon. My mom played along, setting a tiny folding chair in the corner for me. I ate in silence. A year later, they both showed up on my doorstep begging for a job after losing everything. I offered them a position as my personal assistants. Thanksgiving last year was the first time I realized my family didn't see me as one of them anymore. I had no idea how far I'd fallen in their eyes. It happened at my mom's house in Columbus, Ohio. We've always done Thanksgiving big. Long tables, real china, too much food. We're not rich, but we used to be close. Mike is my younger brother. He's 5 years younger, always the golden child. He could screw up and still get hugged after. I always had to prove myself. I'm not bitter, at least I wasn't. Not until last year. He married Vanessa in July. She's one of those women who always looks like she's ready for a photo shoot. Blonde, always posting quotes on Instagram about high standards and cutting out negative people. She talks loud, laughs louder, and never forgets to let you know what you can't afford. They didn't invite me to their wedding. Said it was just family. When I asked, Mike said they were on a budget. Then I saw the venue on Facebook. Outdoor ceremony, expensive floral arches, open bar. Nothing about it looked budget. I said nothing, just unfollowed them both. Thanksgiving came around. My mom called and told me I better be there this time, since I skipped Labor Day and my birthday dinner. I agreed. I figured I'd show up, eat, keep the peace, go home. That was my mistake. When I got there, I noticed the table was already full. There were name cards, wine glasses, fancy folded napkins, but there wasn't a seat with my name. I figured maybe I was just early. Then I saw it. A small, plastic folding table shoved into the corner near the back door. One chair, paper plate, plastic cup. At first, I thought it was for one of the kids. Then Vanessa stood up and said loud enough for the whole room, "There's our little minimalist. We saved you a humble seat since you didn't want to help out with our honeymoon fund." Some people laughed. My uncle fake coughed into his drink. I looked at my mom. She didn't say a word. Didn't even look at me. Instead, she walked me to the little table herself. Like I was a burden they had to put somewhere. I sat there while everyone else clinked glasses and shared dishes. No one passed me anything. I had to get up and walk over for food like a stranger. I barely touched my plate. I left before dessert. I left the pie I brought too. I left the bottle of wine I bought with my last $30. I had just enough in my account to cover rent that month, and I had still brought something. No one said goodbye. No one thanked me for coming. I didn't speak to any of them after that. Not for a year. I left the group chat. I didn't go to Christmas. I didn't send texts on birthdays. Not even Mike's. I didn't owe them anything anymore. But here's the thing about being treated like trash, it lights a fire. See, I run a small logistics company. Back then, it was struggling. I had one contract, an old van, and barely enough to pay my one part-time driver. But after that Thanksgiving, I stopped caring about being polite. I stopped waiting for support. I went full-on obsessed. I hustled. I slept in the office. I did every delivery myself. I spent weekends cold calling warehouses and online shops. I updated my branding, changed my pitch, started driving long-haul jobs. By the following summer, I had 3 new clients and a second van. By October, I had a small crew and my first full-time hire. And in November, almost exactly a year after they humiliated me, Mike and Vanessa showed up on my doorstep. It was a rainy Tuesday. I heard knocking, and when I opened the door, there they were. Drenched. Vanessa in what looked like a Target coat, hair frizzy. Mike looked like he hadn't slept in a week. I didn't say anything. I just stared. Mike cleared his throat. "Hey, we were wondering if we could talk." They came inside. Sat on my old couch like they were afraid to get it dirty. Mike told me he lost his job in June. Vanessa had quit hers right after the wedding, assuming they'd have money from some rental property they were flipping. That deal went bad fast. Then the bank accounts dried up. Vanessa's cousin let them crash for a while but eventually told them to go. They had nowhere else to turn. I asked them what they wanted from me. Vanessa didn't say a word. She just stared at the floor. Mike said, "Anything. If you've got a job, we'll do it." I didn't answer right away. I just got up, walked into my kitchen, poured some coffee, came back. Then I asked, "You want a job? You'll take anything?" They both nodded. I offered them jobs as my personal assistants. I made it clear they'd be on a trial basis. No benefits. Minimum wage. They'd report directly to me. No flexibility. They agreed. That's how my brother and his wife ended up folding my laundry and organizing my receipts. They cleaned out the warehouse fridge. They drove my van. They picked up dry cleaning. They got my coffee exactly how I like it, down to the brand of almond milk. I made Vanessa take a workshop on Excel. I made Mike fix the break room toilet. And every morning I handed them a printed list of tasks. I didn't do it to be cruel. I did it because they needed help, and now they had to understand what it felt like to be at the bottom. Thanksgiving came around again. This time I hosted. I rented out a space. Catered food. Long table, full spread. I invited some friends, employees, even a couple clients. Everyone got name cards. I told Mike and Vanessa to arrive early. They helped set up. Right before dinner, Vanessa asked where they should sit. Her voice was quiet. I said, "Don't worry. I set something special up for you." And there it was, the same exact folding table from last year. Same cheap chair. Paper plates. Plastic cups. I even printed out a little card that said minimalists only. They sat in silence. They ate every bite. Everyone noticed. After that Thanksgiving, things changed, but not how I expected. Mike and Vanessa kept their heads down for a while. They showed up on time. Did the tasks. Vanessa even started dressing more professionally. I could tell she hated every second, but she never talked back. Not once. Mike barely spoke to me at all. Just nodded when I gave him directions, avoided eye contact. He looked smaller than I remembered, like all the shine had been stripped off him. And I'll be honest, part of me enjoyed it. But here's where it started to twist. A few weeks later, one of my warehouse drivers, Jerry, came into my office and said, "Hey, you know your brother's been asking around about your client contacts?" I blinked. "What do you mean?" He asked me if I knew who you used for freight on the northern routes. Said something about how he might try to branch out. Thought you knew. I didn't, but I played it cool. I told Jerry not to say anything else. That night, I stayed late and pulled the access logs from our shared drive. Sure enough, Mike had been snooping. Downloaded files with client lists, rate sheets, vendor contacts. Nothing he needed for his job. I didn't say anything right away. I wanted to see how far he'd go. Then it got worse. Vanessa started getting friendly with one of my junior staff, Gina, 23, smart girl, new to the team. I noticed them chatting too much, but I didn't think much of it. Until Gina came to me looking uncomfortable. Vanessa asked me if I'd ever be interested in working with a startup, said she and your brother were thinking of launching something and looking for people they trust. That was the last straw. They were trying to use me. Use my time, my contacts, my resources to build their own thing. Behind my back. While collecting a paycheck from me. I didn't explode. I didn't fire them. I did something better. The next morning, I called a meeting with them in my office. Just the three of us. I told them I'd decided to promote them. Said I needed someone to take on more responsibility. Their eyes lit up. "Really?" Mike said, his voice almost cracking. Vanessa nodded eagerly. "We're ready." I smiled. "Great. I need someone to take on a special role, housekeeper and driver. My personal apartment needs deep cleaning once a week. Bathroom, floors, dishes. And I need a full-time driver to handle daily pickups and drop-offs, including early morning gym runs." Their faces fell. Mike blinked. "Wait, like cleaning your place?" "Yep. Full trust. High access. Important stuff." Vanessa looked like she was going to throw up. "You're messing with us," she said. I leaned forward. "You tried to steal my business. While working for me. I'm letting you stay employed out of pure generosity. You want to keep eating? Earn it." They didn't quit. They took the new roles. And yes, Vanessa scrubbed my toilet. I made sure there was a camera in every corner for accountability. Mike drove me to work, to lunch, to meetings. Sat in the car while I took clients out to eat. But they weren't done scheming. They tried one more thing. And this time it nearly blew everything up. 3 weeks into their new promotions, I thought I'd broken them. They were quiet. Obedient. Tired. Vanessa stopped wearing makeup. Mike stopped trying to pretend he wasn't miserable. I thought maybe, just maybe, they were finally getting it. Learning something. Maybe they were starting to feel what it was like to be treated as less than. But no, they weren't done yet. The twist started with a call from my bank. It was a Friday. I was in the middle of a delivery coordination meeting when I got the call. The bank rep said there was unusual activity. on one of my business credit cards. A charge from a high-end boutique downtown. $1,742 at a place called Leone & Co., the rep said. Is that yours? It wasn't. I told them to freeze the card and send me the transaction details. Later that day, I checked the security logs for my apartment. Vanessa had been there alone that morning. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. She just said, I thought we deserved something. After everything. Mike stood next to her, arms crossed, not saying a word. I cleaned your nasty bathroom. I drive your errands. I know things about you your friends don't. You treat us like garbage. So yeah, I bought a few things. Sue me. I fired her on the spot. I told Mike he could stay, but only as a driver. No office access. No keys to anything. One more step out of line and he was done. He stayed. That should have been the end of it. But then, a week later, someone slashed the tires on both of my vans. In the parking lot behind the warehouse. No cameras caught it. It was late, dark, raining. But it didn't feel random. I had a sick feeling in my gut. I checked Mike's GPS logs. His phone had been off that night from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And that was the same window the tires got cut. I didn't have proof. Not enough to go to the police. But I knew. He didn't come to work the next day. He didn't answer calls or texts. Then I got a message on Instagram from a fake account. Just one sentence, you stole our future. Watch yours burn. And that's when I realized this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was a war. They wanted to take me down, piece by piece. But they underestimated one thing. I don't fight fair. You want to destroy me? Fine. But I'll make damn sure I drag you both through the dirt on your way down. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed in the office, pacing, thinking about every moment since that Thanksgiving. Every time they smiled to my face while planning behind my back. Every fake apology. Every little insult that I let slide because I wanted to keep the peace. They thought they were smarter than me. They thought being family meant I wouldn't hit back. They were wrong. The next morning, I made a few calls. First, I hired a private investigator. Gave him everything I had, names, addresses, time logs, GPS records, the fake Instagram message. I told him I didn't just want proof, I wanted leverage. Then I called my lawyer. Told him I was considering pressing charges for theft, fraud, and possibly sabotage. He said we'd need more than just a credit card receipt. I told him to hold tight. In the meantime, I started gathering every message, every document, every digital footprint they left while working for me. Vanessa had used her work email to register for that boutique's loyalty program, amateur mistake. Mike had accessed vendor lists and client contacts using his assigned login, which I still had full logs for. 2 weeks later, the PI came back with more. He had photos of Mike meeting with one of my warehouse competitors at a diner in Gahanna. He had texts between Vanessa and an ex-coworker bragging about how they were about to take the whole thing over. But the real gold? He found out that the tire slashing had been done by a guy Mike used to hang out with in high school. The guy had a record 2 arrests for petty theft and vandalism. Paid in cash. With a little pressure and a signed affidavit, we had him. I sent Mike a message, you have 1 hour to show up at the office. Bring Vanessa. If you don't, I go to the cops. He showed up 48 minutes later. Sweating. Pale. Vanessa looked like she hadn't eaten in days. I didn't yell. I didn't even raise my voice. I just opened a folder and laid it out on the table, bank statements, emails, security logs, photos, the signed statement from the guy who slashed the tires. Vanessa's face crumpled. Mike put his head in his hands. I didn't mean to, he started. I cut him off. Save it. You wanted me out. You thought you could take what I built. I just wanted to start over, he mumbled. Then start over. From nothing. I gave them one choice. Sign a confession admitting to theft, misuse of company resources, and attempted sabotage, or I'd press charges, sue them both, and notify every employer on their resumes. They signed. They left that day with a box of their things and nothing else. No paycheck, no reference, no place to go. But it wasn't over yet. I sent copies of their signed statements to my lawyer and the police, just enough to make it official but not enough to push charges. I wanted it to hang over them. I wanted every job application to be a risk. Every background check to be a gamble. I sent a short letter to my mom. Told her the full story. Attached the signed confessions. I didn't ask her to pick sides. I just let her know what her golden boy had done. She never responded. A few weeks later, I heard Mike and Vanessa were living out of a motel outside the city. Last I checked, she was working nights at a diner, and he was driving for a delivery app. They'd burned every bridge. No one would hire them. Word gets around. And me? I moved my operation into a bigger warehouse. Hired 3 new people. My client list doubled by the spring. I don't brag. I don't post about it. But every time I see that folding table, still tucked away in storage, I remember. They humiliated me once. Now every day they live in the shadow of the person they tried to destroy. And me? I eat at the head of the table. Alone, but on my terms. You want to see it end badly for the ones who make you feel small? Wait. Watch. Then build something so big they have to crawl to get near it.